Nice to finally formally meet you.
Thank you, thank you.
I graduated high school May 26th of 2000.
I used to do a lot of film photography. I don't do much anymore.
Okay.
I'm the Hines County District Attorney, which makes me the top.
Hi guys, it's Faith Simone here.
I'm Amanda Wells.
Hi, it's Jody Owens.
Hello everybody, this is your girl Hillary Christian.
Hi, I'm Tom Beck.
Enjoying my evening with the Dirty Napkins crew. Make sure.
Let's go get some napkins dirty.
How does a young kid?
I think it's so critical.
Literally, you can say bad things about me, it can be false.
I had a number in my head.
What's one of your more proud moments? What would you say?
So every day is different. We're learning something new every single day.
She said, well, tried it.
There's always something burning inside you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dirty Napkins. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Dirty Napkins. Until next time, it's your host, Tay.
Welcome to Ford.
Funny meeting you here. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dirty Napkins. Tonight, I'll be interviewing Ja'Nee Powell at her lounge, 4th Avenue, located in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. She's a mom, businesswoman, and all things amazing. So tune in. Let's go get some napkins dirty. Well, I'm here at the famous 4th Avenue with the owner, Ja'Nee. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. We had a little time to talk before we got started, but nice to finally formally meet you.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, I guess, to start the conversation off, if you could just tell the people who may be like me, we don't know too much. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Yeah, for sure. I'm born and raised in Terry, Mississippi.
Okay.
Went to Terry High School. Then after graduating, I moved to Florida, Tallahassee, where I went to Florida A&M. I was a cheerleader over there for 4 years. And then I moved to Atlanta, and I worked with different companies in the music industry doing PR and marketing.
Okay. All right. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack a little
let's
bit
go.
then. So before we get into how you got to FAMU and all of that, let's talk a little bit about your upbringing. So you
Yes.
say you're from Terry. What's kind of, and I didn't tell you my disclaimer, right? Like,
Okay.
I like to ask a lot of questions. So
Okay.
if I ever ask anything that you may not like, just say, hey, Taylor, I don't know about that one.
Okay.
And we'll just gently redirect the
Okay.
conversation,
Yeah.
all right? But going back to what I was saying, talk to us a little bit about your family dynamic, like growing up. Where are you in there?
So I grew up in a big family
Okay.
in Terry, Mississippi. We all lived on the same street growing up. So I'm
Okay.
very, very close to my family.
Okay.
My parents, my dad was a justice court judge for 30 years. My mom,
wow.
her trade initially was a dentist, and then she eventually became CEO of Jackson Hines Comprehensive Health Center. So I come from a family of young Black professionals, and so just very close knit.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Education based.
Education based?
Yeah.
So how did you make the decision to go from
I know.
Terry to FAMU?
I know, so all of my family went to Jackson State, or the majority of my
And
family.
you broke the chain?
I broke the chain.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So, my brother broke the chain too. He went to Xavier, but it was important for us to go to HBCU.
Okay.
So, I chose Florida A&M based on their business program that they have. Yeah, it's called School of Business and Industry, SBI. It's a profound program.
I got you.
And
So your time at Florida A&M, how was that? First time away from home?
First time
far away from home too.
Yeah,
What,
it was-
10 hours?
no, it's 6.5
Six
if
and
you
a half?
drive
Okay.
aggressively.
Aggressively. I got you.
But I loved it. I did miss home a lot. A lot of times I wondered if I should have transferred to Jackson State because I grew up so close to my family my whole life, and now I'm out here in the world all by myself. So
What were you missing about home while you were in FAMU? Like, what was it that was kind of tugging on your heartstrings to come back, I guess?
You know, when you're in a new place, sometimes it can be difficult to figure out people, like who can I trust, who can I not. And when you're around family all the time, your boundaries are a little differently. So that was an adjustment for sure.
So you say you were a cheerleader.
Did,
you cheer at FAM too?
I did.
Okay. High school too?
Yes.
Was cheerleading something you really enjoyed? Is that kind of what pushed you to FAM?
I'm a competitive person, so I ran track, cheered, I played basketball, so I was just an athlete, and cheering is what the next level was for me. That's probably what I was the best at.
I got you. So when you say you're a competitive person, does that, obviously you own a successful business, and from my research I see, and we'll come back to this too, but I see you're also like the CEO of a transit company.
Yes, so we have a non-emergency transportation company. We take patients to and from their doctor's appointment throughout the entire state of Mississippi.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
It's rewarding.
Oh, is it really?
So you have patients who, if they could, they would take themselves to their doctor's appointment, or they would have a family member that would take them. And so in this instance,
you guys do that.
we help them out, yes.
So going back to, you mentioning being competitive, right? Like, in what areas of your life do you see, I guess, your competitive nature come out most?
When I'm with my cousins.
Yeah, explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so like I said, we grew up in a big family, very close-knit, and so it was always, everything's a competition, be it whiz, spades, taboo, you name it. Who can run the fastest up the driveway?
Still today?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's cool though. So is your family predominantly still located in the area a lot?
Yes, all of my aunts and uncles. I have one aunt that's in Alabama, but for the most part, everyone else on my mom's side is in
Terry. All right, so we get to FAMU. I'm just kind of walking through the timeline here, all right? So we go from Terry to FAMU. You go from FAMU to Atlanta. And you say in Atlanta you did some work with like in the entertainment industry and stuff like that. Talk a little bit about that, because I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, so my best friend in college, her name was Bree Duvall at the time. She was with a group, and then she broke off individually and was signed to a record label. And so I helped her with all of her marketing and PR and all of her behind the scenes work. And she was signed to a major record label, and she got pregnant.
Oh, I see. All right.
And so when she got pregnant, that's when actually I decided to come back home. My mom and I had a conversation, and my mom said, you can do it anywhere in the world, but why not come back home and make a difference where the blueprint is open and you can do whatever you dream here, and the competition is a little different, and the roads,
That's good. We'll come back to that point. That's a really good point. I want to stay on your work in Atlanta though for a second. So, you talk about your friend and how you helped her with a lot of the marketing and PR stuff.
Yes.
Like, is that something you're just like naturally gifted at, or like how did you get into marketing from like cheering, I guess is what I'm asking.
So that's what my undergrad, that's what my emphasis was on marketing. So I think that it is something that I have a gift. I like being able to say, okay, this is a piece of paper. Let's figure out who needs this paper. If you need this paper, what kind of paper do I need to make for you? What colors are going to bring your attention to it? And just different things like that. So I love the idea of marketing, the science behind marketing, the 4 Ps of marketing that a lot of people, don't really dig as deep into marketing as what it is.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Florida.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are y'all? Have y'all decided on a cocktail?
Yeah, so this is his first time here. So I would like to introduce him with our signature, the Fourth Arita.
Oh, okay.
The Fourth Arita.
But before we get to that, what do you typically drink?
I'm an equal opportunist, honestly. I like tequila, I like wine, I like whiskey. I like anything but shots.
Let's do a lemon drop.
Lemon drop?
Yeah.
That is perfect.
All right, a lemon drop it is.
So wait, we gotta go back to the 4 Ps.
Okay, let's go back to the 4 Ps, because you educated
this don't
me.
bother me.
You educated me right now.
All right, so my teacher, product, price, place, and promotion. But I said those 4. I just don't think I said them all 4.
I did. I think that's what it was.
At the same time.
Because the first time you said 3, and then you said a separate 3 the next time. But
so I still do know them.
you still know them.
Okay, good.
You still know them. Let the record show you
I
still do
got
know
it.
them. You still got it.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm sure when you were in Atlanta, you were doing the marketing, doing the promotion, like the era I don't know your age or anything like that, but depending on the era that you were in Atlanta, was it a hard transition to go from Atlanta back to Jackson?
It was a very difficult transition. So most of the people in my family had professional degrees. And so for me to go into marketing and PR was a little unorthodox. So my main goal while I was in Atlanta was not to party, was to strictly 100% build my name in this industry and do what I was there to do. And so it was difficult because Atlanta was the scene at the time. And so here I am being the square butt, doing what's right. And so it was interesting for me. And I think that was part of the reason why I was so eager to come home when the opportunity presented itself.
So when we talk about your mom's advice to you, she tells you, hey, and I guess to backtrack a little bit, it sounds like listening to you when you say your family has a lot of professional degrees per se. You are kind of striking me maybe like the free spirited person of your family. Would you say that?
I don't know. It's a lot of us. And so I think I was just the one that really was presented an opportunity where it was something a little different, you know? And so.
Okay. So all right. Cheerleader in high school, we get to FAMU. We go from FAMU to Jackson State. You get some advice from your mother and you decide to come back to Jackson.
Yes.
All right, when you come back to Jackson, what's the first thing you do?
Ooh, cry.
Cry, why?
Okay, like what am I doing back here? Like it was a different transition because even though we had that conversation, I didn't know how it would be perceived with me coming back home, right? So here it is, I've been in Atlanta, I've been in Florida, and really in a different scene that wasn't here in Jackson. Yeah. And to be back home, I just don't know how I was gonna be able to adjust.
Yeah. Was it, you don't strike me as the type of person, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't strike me as the type of person who in a lot of ways cares what people think.
Oh, I do.
You do? Okay,
sure.
Well, that may even be a better question then. So you come back from Jackson you come from Atlanta to Jackson. Was part of that cry or part of that kind of, oh man, I hate this, just the perception of that you went to a big city, 2 big cities rather, and had to come back?
Possibly.
Yeah, okay.
Possibly, because I was young and I didn't really know what it meant to, I felt like I was supposed to be somewhere at a young age already. Because I'm used to, at this point, my cousins are in law school and my brother's finishing med school. And so they have these accolades to go with them. And it's like, I'm still trying to dig and figure out what my path is. Do I go to law school? What is it that I need to do am I following a dream,
What is Ja'Nee's dream? I know we're sitting inside of your beautiful lounge. Is the lounge the correct term for it?
It is, thank you. I appreciate that. It's not a club.
All right, I wanted to make sure I was real careful in saying that. But we're sitting inside of your beautiful lounge. And maybe this is Ja'Nee's dream, but just talking to you and just asking, what is your dream?
I think my dream overall is not defined by one specific thing, more so a bigger scheme of just being significant. So whatever God presents me with, to be able to really utilize it to the best of my ability and make a difference. So I don't think I have one thing like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a singer. It's just, okay, if this presents itself and it works for me at the part of my life that I'm in, then I just want to be great at it, whatever it is.
Let's go back to young Ja'Nee.
All right.
Right, like young Ja'Nee, right? Do you think young Ja'Nee thought that you would be a business owner, or what did you think at that point in those early years of your life? What did you think your kind of path looked like?
I thought I would be working for Coca-Cola in the marketing department, like Two Can Play That Game.
I like that movie. That's a good movie.
That's who I thought I was gonna be. Killing the marketing scene, just from that level.
I got you. So you're back in Jackson. You're finished with the crime phase. Which came first? Did Fourth come first, or did your CEO gig come first? Or if neither of those, walk me through that.
So when I first came back, I worked with Medicaid for a while. And then it was more on an internship basis.
Okay.
And from that, my family and I started a company called Transit Care, which is where we take the patients to and from. No, back up. I was working with Medicaid, doing the internship. And then I was offered a job with LabCorp. Okay. And so with LabCorp, I became the key account executive for Mississippi. So what that meant is different doctor's offices, I go in and teach them about the different labs that LabCorp offers and any kind of service issues that they may have. I was their go-to person.
Okay.
So I did that. I was really, really good at it because I like to study. And so I was able to, these are the tests that work well for Mississippi, like allergy, right?
Okay.
And so I was good at selling it. And you're not selling a doctor, they already know, but you're just teaching them how to use it for their clinic. So I did that for a while. And then after doing that is when we started Transit Care.
Okay.
And we did that for a while. I worked both, actually. So I would save all my money from one job so that we could build the next. So that was a rough period because here I am going to work full time, and as soon as I get off, I'm going right back to work again. We did that, and then 6 years later, we started 4th Avenue.
I got you. Well, before we get on 4th, I wanna talk about. You just showcased some serious hustle there. You're talking about.
Thank you.
Are these the lemon drops?
I'm gonna have to pause you.
All right, pause me.
So when I did the menu for cocktails, the most popular cocktails and my favorites start at the top. So if you ever don't know what to order,
work your way from the top.
Work your way from the top on down, right?
Oh boy.
So this is our lemon drop, and so with our lemon drop, we were very, very competitive when we designed and mixed the lemon drop. We had a lemon drop competition at our house. It was the real deal.
Oh, this is. I don't know. You know, excuse my ignorance here, but I don't even know what a lemon drop is.
Well, I can't tell you all of the ingredients, but it is a vodka, a simple syrup that we make in house at 4th Avenue. All of our drinks are made from fresh squeezed juices, so we don't do.
All right, that's a
store-bought,
nice. That's
right?
a nice
so
brand.
you know you're getting a quality drink. Also, all of our drinks are premium liquors, so we don't have low end. So with the lemon drop, they put a straw in it because some people, are sensitive. But the best way to drink your lemon drop is to take out your straw.
All right.
You gotta follow me.
Oh, I'm following you step by step.
Yes.
This is instruction here.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
And then you're going to just lightly get some sugar from the outside of the cup at the same time as you drink, right? So and that is a 4th Avenue lemon drop.
Hey, it's kind of good.
So tell me what your mouth is doing right now.
This giving me real, it's giving me real lemonade vibes.
Yes,
like
okay.
a nice, fun, spiked lemonade in a lot of ways. And I didn't think I would like the sugar because I'm not a real sugary guy.
It's not real sugar though. It's bar sugar. So.
See,
it's refined.
I like it. This is a good drink.
Okay, so that's.
I can feel it steadily coming on. So
and it's gonna kick.
Okay, all right, good to know. I don't need too many of these then.
Yeah.
I get a little wild when I get too many of them in me. But let me pick the conversation. That's really good, Ja'Nee. Like really good. But to pick the conversation back up, like I said, you strike me just listening to you talk right there, right? You're like, I was working 2 jobs. I was kind of taking my money from here and bringing it here and things like that. I would ask you this question, right? And I hope, I want you to know it's not my intention to offend you by asking this question, but what would you say to the people who they look at what you just said previously about your mom being the CEO of a big, medical facility, and your father being, did you say judge? Okay.
But not just a judge, he also was a land developer. So many of the neighborhoods that are for, what's the best way to say this? Many neighborhoods in South Jackson and Byron Terry area, my dad and my uncle developed.
Okay, I got you. Real estate sells out lots in a lot of ways.
Yes,
Got you. Okay, so in saying that, I'm sure you've heard some people say, oh, she's been given the key, or she's been given this or given that. How would you respond to that?
No, I definitely think that, and I'm grateful that I was blessed to have a unit that was able to teach me core values as far as like the value of money, the importance of being a good person, being humble, having good work ethic. So those are the things that my family taught me, and it was up to me and something that God ordained in me to be able to take it to the next level. So yes, I'm very thankful that my parents were in a position where they worked very diligently, very hard to have what they have, so that my brother and I and my cousin, so that we didn't have to, work we worked differently. We still worked hard. We still studied, but it was just we were at a different starting level, I think to say.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I just, I'm sure it's an obvious question, and I don't want anybody to say,
we weren't spoiled growing up, right? So we had to work for things like, I would want a certain car. My mama would be like, no, how does it look? You don't work hard. You don't need that car. You're in school, right? Or you don't go to school. You don't get to go to practice. You know what I mean? So they implemented things to make sure that we knew that education was the most important thing in our lives. And all the material things were not important and not to value. That can't be.
That's a good way, to, I guess, to raise a kid, quote unquote. I'm not, I don't have any children, but saying that, I mean, that's, for your parents to be that well off and to still kind of instill those hard values in you and your brother. What would you say is one of the best lessons you may have learned from either of your parents?
Partnership. Yeah, my dad and my mom are amazing partners. They both had their different times in their careers where one may have had to sacrifice more than the other. And so I think that's what living in the house with them taught me as far as for where I am now.
I got you. And when we talk about partnership, I think it's worth noting you and your husband own this,
yes,
right?
Correct.
So what is that dynamic like, running a restaurant with your best friend, your life partner, etc.?
Yeah, I think so. Like Instagram and social media try to tell us like, oh, go be B&J, work with your partners. But what they don't see is like, for us, there's no separation, right? So it's not, don't talk about work when you get home, because it's like, well, you're my business partner, so we have to continue this conversation. Or it's the steady, he doesn't get a break from me to go to work, and vice versa. It's all the time, nonstop. So,
I can see that.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I can see that. I didn't think about it like that, right?
Because most people don't. They think it's, roses and...
Yeah. But like you said, when you never get a break from it, that can be pretty demanding, I would assume.
For sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Fourth.
Okay.
So you told us everything, how you got from here to Fourth. What was Fourth, I guess, before you and your husband got a hold of it?
Yeah, so back in the day, this used to be an old diner.
Okay.
And so we came in, I was actually pregnant. And I couldn't come in because of the condition that the building was already in. So my thing before is, I knew that this is downtown Jackson, right? There's no major metropolitan area where the downtown is not thriving.
Yeah.
If you want the outer line to thrive, you need your core, your downtown, to have some type of substance. So I always wanted to reinvest into downtown Jackson since I was younger. And so when we found this building, at the time, we didn't know exactly what we were going to do with it, but I think just as time matriculated and, we tried to find, what does Jackson need? And that's how 4th Avenue was birthed, because we weren't that couple to get married and then say, okay, well, we're never going to, hang out anymore.
Yeah.
We're just going to have kids and go out to eat every other month, and so we wanted to have a place where we could safely still date each other.
Yeah.
And so that's where 4th Avenue was birthed.
That's cool. That's a good concept to do it that way.
Yeah, because a lot of times, a lot of people that are from here, you'll hear, oh, I go to Dallas or I go to other places, and we truly felt like we should have that here.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have to go out of town to go on a date. You should be able to have a place where, and not just date, but if you need to bring a client somewhere where you can feel comfortable, where you can feel like you're going to get exceptional service and just impress them.
Yeah, because I did, I'm a bit obsessive when it comes to journalism. That's what I consider myself as. So I had never been to Fourth before. That's my truth moment. But I came in last Friday. I didn't tell anybody I'd be interviewing you in a week. I just came in, I sat at the bar. I would like to say to you, you have a great staff.
Thank you.
I think the young lady's name was India. Yep, she took care of me last week. Great service, made me great drinks. I had great conversation at the bar. I came to do some research. I usually stay somewhere about an hour. I ended up being here like 4 hours.
Oh, good.
And I almost took an Uber home, right? I was like, okay, but the Uber system wasn't just working like I needed it to. But neither here nor there. I just wanted to tell you that. But what were some of you all's influences when you went to when you said, hey, we want to start a lounge in downtown Jackson? Because I think I heard somewhere that you all had maybe looked to your experience in Atlanta or your experience. Yeah, it's real good. Yeah.
Are you eating today?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so Sabrin, what would you recommend?
My top two, everything is delicious, but my two favorites would definitely be the bacon shrimp and the seafood dip.
All right, let's try it.
The banging shrimp and the seafood.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's go for it.
Got it. I have it right after you.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I like the chili sauce. And what was the other one? The seafood dip?
Seafood dip, yeah. So it's one of our staple items here.
Okay.
It has shrimp, crab, different meat, and a blend of different Asiago cheeses.
Okay.
Some people eat it on top of French fries. Some people eat it like with our wonton chips. Some people even put it on their burger. So it's just one of those things. It's very good.
Good to know.
It's not healthy.
Good. I'm not a health nut. You
Okay.
know, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
So we're good there. But going back to that question, what were some of your influences when you all decided to open Fourth?
I got the 4 P's. I just didn't say them in the right order.
You did.
Okay, just making sure.
I didn't
I
didn't
still know.
debate that.
Okay, just
I
making
did
sure.
not debate that.
Okay, so what'd you say?
Let's backtrack. The lemon drop already hit somebody.
No, I'm just saying it ain't. But I just want to make sure I still remember
You still got
my
it.
stuff.
You
I
still got it. You
Okay.
still got it. You got it, girl. But my question was, this lemon drop is good.
Thank
But my question was, when you all were opening Fourth, where did you look for influence, or where did you take some of your influences from? And I'm not asking you to specifically name
no.
another club or anything like that, but where did you find influence?
Yeah, Dallas, LA,
Okay.
and Miami
Okay.
were some of the cities that we went to. New York as well,
Okay.
but really Dallas had the biggest influence on us, and then LA second.
I appreciate that. I live in Dallas.
I love Dallas.
Yeah, that's my city.
I think
Yeah.
if I could, I love Dallas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I gotta not off the record because we on camera, but
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, as someone who's lived in Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I must admit to you that I am a big Atlanta fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Atlanta, right? Which city do you like better, Atlanta or Dallas?
Dallas. But my Atlanta experience was different. It was
More
the
reserved?
entertainment
Mm.
industry, right?
Oh, I
so
see.
it wasn't family oriented, and so when I see Dallas, I see a blend where you can still have your activities and your family life. And Atlanta's different now than it was then.
Yeah, I can see that. So, when we talk about Fourth, what would you say have been some of your, I guess, your biggest moments, or some of the moments you're most proud of? And before you answer that, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna caveat that question by following it up with asking you, what were some of the moments you were like, what did we get ourselves into?
Okay, so I have one situation that will answer both.
All right.
We brought Drake to Mississippi, and
Okay.
we had 3 days to put it together.
How did that pull off? How did that go?
So CJ Gibson and Cortez Bryant
Okay.
were bringing Drake, but it was just going to be a family trip. And so it was very undisclosed. And then CJ had a conversation and was like, look, I think we could pull it off. And I'm like, ain't no way. We ain't got enough time. We hadn't done any marketing, any promotion. And it was the most beautiful thing to see Drake in his rarest form doing a performance in here. He stood on the couch. We were right
didn't
here.
he? Champagne Poppy on the couch.
Yeah, so
I
it
got
was
you.
just very, it was a very intimate session. So
Okay.
guests were able to really be within arm's reach of Drake. But at the same time, that night was like, what have we, like, how are we gonna pull this off?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was awesome.
So what was, I guess, you mentioned the marketing and you mentioned all of that in the time frame. What was it? Was it just logistically that made it a nightmare for you? Like, because the
Logistically,
caliber of artists? Like,
yeah.
what do you think it was?
All of the above. So it was the caliber of the artist, so security, being able to keep true Drake fans from rushing the stage was very difficult. And then, like, of course, it was so last minute. You had so many people, oh, it's not true, Drake is not really coming. And then also dealing with so many people trying to be a part of it last minute. And it's like, I really have nowhere for you. So that was kind of difficult.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Because ideally you want your people to be able to experience it with you, but we were working, so we really didn't experience it. Like, I don't even have a picture from that night.
Oh, man.
Because we were working.
I got
So,
you.
you know.
But when you look back on that moment, when you look back on bringing Drake, like, what do you think? How does it make you feel?
The one thing I regret, I'll say this, is right there on the wall is a Drake quote. And it says, "I live for the nights with the people that I won't forget." And he was right there. And my intention initially was to have him sign it.
That would have been hard.
He was right here, but it was so chaotic that I just didn't think about it.
I got you. That's a hard blunder. Oh, that would have been tough.
That hurt.
That would have been tough. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know.
But you know, you never know. Who's to say it won't happen again for you? Maybe. Yeah, maybe not. But all right, so when we talk about just Drake and we talk about Jackson, I want to kind of switch from Drake to Jackson.
Okay, let's go.
What are your overall thoughts just on the city itself? Not in regards to nightlife. We'll get to that, but in itself, like, you know, where do you see Jackson? Where do you see Jackson going? That's the kind of the context of the question I'm asking.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of Jackson. I feel like I'm proud of Jackson because I feel like Jackson is creating a new Jackson, and where people are becoming more involved. We have the same vision to have a better Jackson. So you have politicians, you have business owners, you have citizens that all know and want to be a part of Jackson in the new growth. So the energy here is so live, and we have so many areas, so many things that we have to work on, right? But I think that we're getting to a place where people aren't turning the blind eye on Jackson, right? They're not just moving to the outskirts and not spending money in Jackson. They're actually reinvesting their time and money. So I see Jackson, for me, there are 10 4th Avenues, you know what I mean? Like where people can do like in major cities and bar hop. It doesn't have to, you know, just be confined to one space, but also a place where it's safe, a place where, you know, I just feel like people should be proud of where they're from.
Yeah, I got you. And I agree with that, you know. And it's something somebody mentioned to me the other day. We were having another conversation with another one of our guests. And they made the point, they're like, you know, the beautiful thing about Jackson at this point is we've had so many people leave and are kind of, you know, getting their influence and getting their resources together in other cities, although it may not be in Jackson. But we're starting to see kind of, I guess, this inflow back into Jackson. People are spending more and more time here, you know?
But then that's also a great point. You got so many people who, this is our heart, this is home. They've left, they've gone to the big cities. They know what works there, what doesn't work there. And then they're able to bring that back to Jackson. Where if you've never left home, you may not have that same perspective, right? And I see that in my family and in my friends, like, that have left and are now back home and have different ideas, different perspectives. And I think it makes for a great dialogue and conversational change.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And what do you think Jackson, do you think Jackson get a bad rap in a lot of ways? Like I don't feel like people talk as bad about Jackson as they once did, but it still seems to me like people have a lot of negative to say. And just like any city, right? I'm born and raised in Jackson, right? I've been away for a while, so I come back and I look at it from the outside looking in. I feel like people still have some of those negative comments, but I guess I just want your take as a business owner in Jackson. Do you feel like it's a bad rap?
I think some of them are warranted. I think some of them are true and real. I think they just need to be able to be defined into what category, right? So downtown Jackson is safe. There are some areas of Jackson that are not. And so I think it needs to be distinguished instead of just all of Jackson is bad. Okay, let's fix the areas, or let's try to figure out ways to better the bad areas, right? But I think Jackson is a city and you're gonna have your good and your bad. And I think as long as we're collectively working to improve, and that's what everyone is trying to do.
What has the relationship been like with opening a nightclub or just being in the nightlife business in Jackson? What has that been like?
It's interesting because we are in the Bible Belt. So 4th Avenue is a lounge, right? We're not a club, even though after a certain time it does turn up, right? But if you come in the time like we're here now, early on, you get a nice, relaxing vibe. And but I think for some people, because of the stigma of what they think it is, they won't even allow themselves to try it when it's early, right?
Okay.
But in Atlanta, if you go to a hotel bar, if you go to the Ritz, it changes as the night progresses, but they won't allow themselves to even experience 4th Avenue because of the stigma. So it's been interesting to...
When you say stigma, what?
You know, some people just... I don't think I want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk about? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And perfect segue. We got food coming.
Thank you.
Alright.
All right, so I'm going to move these menus out of the way.
I can take them out the way for you.
Thank you, Saber.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all need anything else
So,
right now?
Not
I think we're
really.
good.
It's
Thank
some
you.
big shrimp.
All right, so you got to get your phone, you got to take a picture, and you got to post a selfie with it. I'm joking with you.
I was gonna say I'll do it. I will do it. I get
So,
somebody pass my phone. We turn it up.
This is our banging shrimp.
Okay.
So it is lightly dusted and fried with a in-house made sauce, very similar to a bang bang.
Okay.
And so Sabrina is gonna go and get us some saucers
Okay.
so that we don't have to dig out of here, and also some utensils.
That's fine. That's cool. Well, while we're waiting on that, we'll kind of segue. What do you, when you look at as a business owner, obviously you have to assess your own business, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, you know, what is Ja'Nee's perception of Fourth? What do you think the reputation of Fourth is?
I don't know. I don't think I know what the reputation is, but I know what I expect it to be. I expect it to be quality, fun service. No matter what time you're here, no matter who your service is, that you know that your lemon drop is your lemon drop every time. And if it's not, then we're gonna correct it and fix it, right? So when I'm in here, it's really difficult for my friends sometimes because I'm counting. How long has it taken that server to come from this point to this point? I'm looking at the bar. I'm wondering why everybody is at the hostess stand. So it's very difficult for me to be partying when I'm in here, right? So it's just a different perspective. I'm looking at things that no one else is paying attention to. Like, why is that light not on and this one on? So it's my perception of what people really think. Perception versus reality are going to be different.
When you were, that's a really good point. You talk, I mean, because I think I've never had a desire to, never really wanted to own a nightlife type of business. So how, like,
because
you just
there was a need.
You wanted to feel it.
Yep.
I got you.
So the business, the economics of it
Made sense for you. Fair enough. But when you think back on that process, the process from taking Fourth from a diner to this lounge that it is today, what would you say, and not even in terms of Fourth, just in general, what would you say were some of the biggest sacrifices? And I want to caveat that question by asking, do you think, when you look back on it, do you think they were worth it?
So the biggest sacrifice would have to be, honestly, my marriage. Because I'm blessed to have a partner who was able to understand what we were doing, but a lot of times we sacrifice our relationship or our marriage for business, right? Because there's no cutoff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we're open on Fridays, I'm already here by 9. He's coming at 12, 1 o'clock to set up, and we're here the entire night until we leave. We'll go home and change clothes and come back. But like date night, my date night is here. You know what I mean? So it's like, how true of a date night is it at work?
How does that work?
It's difficult, but you have to be able to say, okay, this is what it is for this phase of life right now. So let me make the best of it and be optimistic.
Because I couldn't imagine, right? Like,
it's hard. Like every anniversary has been here for the past 30 years. Because you gotta make sure. You
gotta make sure it's your baby in a lot of ways, your quote unquote baby. So no, I feel that. I feel that. But like the struggles of running a nightlife business or a lounge, do you think they give you like some pause, or I don't want to say this in a mental health way, but like an anxiety around it? Because like you said, your date nights are here. I can imagine, obviously I don't know you personally, but I can imagine you sitting on the couch just in this short time of me knowing you, and you getting irritated with something like, but you're supposed to be on a date night. So does things like that give you some pause?
I'm able to put it in perspective and say, okay, this is where we are right now. So we're doing this because, man, 5 years, if I'm still in here doing it, we're gonna have a whole nother price. It's gonna be something else. But right now, I think it's just, we both have accepted it as what it is, and we have to be owners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can't expect my staff to do something that I can't do, right? And I want them to know that I'm just as invested as they are. Okay. So they know if I'm not here, that I'm still checking in on them, or that I've already been here.
Sure.
So that's important.
Okay. And and I promise you, I'm not gonna ask you too many more fourth questions. We'll talk about a few other things. But when you think about fourth and you say 5 years from now, I don't want to be here, or 5 years, not I don't want to be here, 5 years from now, it needs to be, I guess, more polished or whatever.
The organizational chart will be different.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's
so
what I'm
instead of
looking
us
for.
being owner operators, we'll be able to have someone else in that position, and then we can step back a little bit. But right now, until those kinks are worked out. And then we had to learn how to adapt in the middle of a pandemic, right?
Sure.
So I couldn't expect any manager to be able to maneuver that. That's just.
What was that like for you?
Can you imagine? So here it is, there's a virus, and the number one thing they say is stay away from people.
Yeah, and that's kind of your
business. And that's the number one, that's the name of the game, is the more people, the better. No one wants to go anywhere where it's empty. So it was challenging for us. It was difficult for us. It was difficult to find ways to keep our staff occupied for the ones that still wanted to work. But it was very challenging.
On a personal note, right? Just to let the people watch and just learn a little more about you. When you think back on your life, right? From early childhood to now, I think back to like one of your lower moments, right? Like whatever that may have been, whatever that may have caused that, that's not my question. My question is, how did you pick yourself up in that moment? How did you dust yourself off to get here? And question while you're thinking about that question. Am I supposed to get sugar each time? Or like, do you just keep sipping from your...
don't.
Okay, all right, I was just curious.
As long as it's on your palate, then it's just
I've been hitting it every time. I ain't know, I've been hitting it every time.
But I read a lot, and there are certain books that throughout, from the time I graduated high school, that I consistently go back to every year. The Power of the Subconscious Mind, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and those books just kind of, from good to great, I have copies of them that are just highlighted. So I don't have to go back and read the whole book, but depending on where I am or what I need, I know that can help get me back grounded onto where I need to be.
You were telling me about your love of reading.
Yes.
But you were telling me in context of just how you lifted yourself up when you may have hit one of your low moments in life. And you told me about the books, and you told me about all of that stuff. So I guess a cliche question is, just for anybody watching this who may look at you because of what you've accomplished. I'm sure there are a lot of women out there, and probably men for that matter too, that I don't want to say idolize, because idolize seems so, vain in a lot of ways. But people who may look to you and say, I kind of want to carve out a lane similar to her. What would you tell them?
I think it's so critical to be keen and aware of the people that you keep around you. You know what I mean? People that keep you accountable, people that know you enough to know what your strengths and your weaknesses are, that know when you're quiet that you're really speaking loud. You know what I mean? All of those different things, so that you have, you can stay true to yourself no matter what's going on in the world.
That's a good piece of
advice. You know what I mean? So I have different friends, different family members that I get different things from, right? So someone is family, someone is relationship advice, someone is let's just go have fun, and they keep me grounded to who my core value, who I am now and who I aspire to be.
I got you.
All right.
we talk about Ja'Nee. What pisses Ja'Nee off?
Oh.
And you take your time, because I'm gonna eat me another piece of this shrimp while you're
No,
doing
I think
that.
what pisses me off is I expect adults to be adults. So I don't micromanage, right?
answer.
So I'm not gonna ask you twice. I'm gonna do it myself. And once I've done it myself, then you already know what that means. So that probably pisses me off the most.
I haven't. That's an interesting answer. I've asked that question a few
Yeah,
times,
okay.
just across a few different platforms. And speaking of a few different platforms, right? So I'm a writer. I think I told you that, journalist. But I was writing my first book, which I'm just finished, by the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I asked this question to everyone I interviewed, and I'd like to ask you because I'm just curious of your answer, right? So when you think about passion, people always say, oh, I'm passionate about this, or I'm not passionate about this. I asked this question, it's a simple question. It's passion or skill, right? Do you feel it's more important to be passionate about something, or do you feel it's more important to find something you're good at and build a skill around it?
Skill.
And explain why.
Because passions are derived from emotions. And so emotions change depending on your surroundings. And so if you find something that you're passionate about, that doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to transfer that into money or finance or economics. And so I could be passionate about flowers, you know what I mean? If I open up a garden or or if I start, I just don't think it's about passion.
Yeah, skill.
I think passion can help lead you into it, but if you're not skilled at it, then you're gonna set yourself up.
Got you. And I've heard you talk a lot tonight, not about leadership, but you've said you've had a lot of little comments that in a lot of ways alluded to who you are as a leader.
Really?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Okay.
Just talking about little simple things. But I want to ask you a more direct question about leadership. Like, what do you think constitutes a good leader, manager, business owner? Like, what qualities? I want to make that very broad so you can paint a broad.
So one thing I try to identify is that everyone learns differently. And so I try to be open when I talk to my staff. You know, I'm cognitive of who they are so that I know how they receive the information that I give them. Some people I can joke around with, some people I can't. Some people I just try to stay really fluid in there, but then also like what I think part of my gift is being able to say, okay, let me help you make it to the next level. I may not know nothing about what your next level is, but I may know someone that I can connect you to, or I can help mold whatever your skills are or your skill set maybe you're missing so that you can be a better whatever the next journey is. So for all of my staff, I want them to be better when they leave here than they were when they got here. And that's like not meaning as a server, I mean as a person in general.
That's good.
So I think they all know that. Like that's the one thing I'm really passionate about, and they know that I'll help them with anything that they need.
Well, I mean, I think that speaks a lot to you as an owner too, because a lot of owners or just a lot of business people in general, they don't really pour into their employees. You know. I wanna ask, like, what do you do?
You asked me a question.
What did I ask?
You said what's difficult for me. So I'm an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert.
Me too.
So like, I'm comfortable around my people. I'm not comfortable around a lot of people. But I own a night spot. So I have to be comfortable with everybody, and I have to make sure that the way I come off and I perceive myself is open and receiving, even though that's a little out of my character. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, then it's the owner was acting, and it's like, I'm really just would rather be at home watching TV, and I'm not trying to. So I have to overcompensate that part and make sure that I'm cognizant of it. And then half the time I'm tired when I'm in here anyway, because I've been here since 11 o'clock. Right.
Is it tough for you then? Because like and that's part of the reason I've never really wanted to be in this industry. Like you say, right? I'm a very any of the staff members, any of the Dirty Napkins team will tell you, like, once we finish the season up, I'm gonna go back to hibernation. I'm gonna go in Dallas, long away from here, right?
Yeah.
But is it hard for you to get outside of, like, I know you just said how, you know, what you do to do it, but I want to know, is it hard for you to do it?
It's difficult, but what makes it not difficult is that I truly care that if you didn't like this, that my staff did whatever they needed to do to correct it. So that kind of keeps me balanced to say I really do care about the person's experience, whether they're coming in here to turn up, whether they're coming in here for a business meeting. I want to know that my brand represents me in its full entirety, right? So although I'm uncomfortable, it's what I got to do.
I got you.
So it's what I signed up for.
Would you say you hold yourself to a really high standard?
Yeah, unrealistic probably.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know why, but
You just like, I do. I don't know why, I just do. I got you. Well, how do you then, you talk about holding yourself to a high standard, that can be stressful. I hold myself to a really high standard as well. And I can tell you from my personal experience, it's stressful for me. So when we talk about you, how does Ja'Nee relax? Like, how do you unwind? Like, what does that look like?
what does that mean?
Relax? It's like when you kick back, you chill,
Oh.
run your nice bath. At least that's what I do. Give me a nice good glass of wine, listen to some soft tunes, none of that. Yikes.
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old, so I try to make sure that she doesn't, because of our involvement in our careers, that she doesn't miss anything. So my downtown is 100% focused on her, so that she doesn't miss anything, because I know what it's like to have parents that were grinding, and so I want to make sure that she doesn't feel any type of, see you later, any type of.
When your daughter looks at you, what do you, obviously I know she loves you, but when your daughter looks at you, what do you hope she sees?
Kindness, a good person, and a hard worker. Like, I don't want her to grow up to have to depend on anybody. I want her to be able to match it, but I also want her to be a good person. Like, manners, kind, good spirit, that's important.
I got you.
Yeah, so what sacrifices for me, honestly, is my friends. Like, they love me because of me, but they know, like, I am the worst friend in the world. I'm not gonna brunch. I'm not gonna do those extra things because I'm always working. Or trying to be with Blake. Or I sacrifice myself, like, I don't have time to do things for me that, like, most people, it's normal. But if I have to choose finishing payroll or getting my nails done, I gotta finish payroll because people are dependent on me. So, you know, I sacrifice stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I don't have I don't have too many more questions for you. I'm gonna end with a few questions that are what we considered, I guess, to be Dirty Napkins favorites.
All right, let's get
dirty. Well, not too dirty,
Okay,
but the first question is just talking about legacy, right?
Okay, that's a good word.
And I want to have you expound. What does legacy mean to you?
Yeah. So legacy to me is being able to afford my daughter with knowledge as well as provisions that she doesn't have to. She has a certain aura about herself where she's confident and she knows that she's starting here, and her legacy means that I'm proud of my parents. I come from legacy. My entire family is legacy. They're good, humble people, and they work really, really hard. So I'm gonna cry. So legacy means a lot.
It mean a lot to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even if she goes off the tracks like me and doesn't go to law school or doctor, as long as you provide a good, solid legacy where you say people listen and they respect you.
But even if she does, right? Look at how you turned out. Look, I mean, you and your husband are running a phenomenal
I think it was
business.
harder to do it my way, maybe.
You think so? Why do you think that? I mean, I'm not trying to get back into the conversation.
I think it was harder. It would have been easier to just. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's a lot of risk.
Yeah.
Especially when both are entrepreneurs. So you don't have one that has a 401k to stand on. It's like, we got to do this. We got to figure it out. We're pregnant now. We got a kid. You know, so it's hard. It's demanding.
How has, since starting forth, and I know this is not your only baby, but since starting forth, how has that impacted your relationship with entrepreneurship?
That's an interesting question. I think like what I need to do next is I need to use my platform to help teach the younger generation what entrepreneurship really is, right? So I can have a business and not be successful, or I could, you know, make $100, but it took me $99 to make that 100. So it's like, how long are you going to continue to spin your wheels, and like what foundation are you missing to build your business to be successful? So I think if I could go back and kind of help teach, that may be what's next. for how I can really make a difference.
Okay. Well, last question for you, and this is, like I said, one of the questions we always ask.
Yes.
Is for anybody watching this, the
Yes.
viewers, but you know, just off the feeling I get from talking to you and the conversation we had, I want to ask you a little more specifically. For any young woman out here who's watching this and she looks at you and says, I want to be like her one day, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that if you work hard, you can achieve it. No matter what it is, if you really sacrifice and you give it your all, you can be great at it.
Be great at it. All right. The food. Good.
Thank you. I
give you that.
appreciate
I
it.
give you that.
So you know when you come back,
Yep.
what you're gonna order,
I know where I'm starting for sure.
and then when you have your guests with you, you know how to trickle them down the menu.
Does the food work that way too, or is it
does.
just the drink? So
It
it's the
does.
food too.
Mhm.
All right. Is that a public knowledge thing, or is
No.
that like a okay?
And we do have a secret menu too. So there are certain items that are not on the main menu that our regulars know to order.
How does one become privy, or do you need to tell me this off camera?
No, just
How do-
regulars.
Okay, regulars.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go down to make some friends at the bar.
There you
Like,
go.
hey, I
Easy,
heard,
okay,
you know,
yeah.
I heard. All
So
right.
they can custom any item. So like one of the most popular things that I see a lot is they'll grill the shrimp and they'll do it on top of rice with this sauce. So it's a special item.
That sounds real good.
It's pretty good.
That sounds like really, really good.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about food, what are some of your favorite restaurants in Jackson outside of obviously yourself?
Yeah, so no, I love participating and going to the different restaurants in Jackson. Different places have different things. So like when I want cocktails, I go to Babalu's. That's like my signature spot because I love how they use their fresh squeezed juices. I got a lot of inspiration for our drink menu from Babalu's.
Okay.
If I want appetizers, I go to Ja'Nee. So I love their fried broccoli and just they have certain things on there that are just my staples. And if I'm going for a full menu meal, I really like Cake.
I've never heard of them.
It's in Ridgeland, and
Okay.
it's an upscale restaurant, but they have really fine, deculent menu items.
Okay.
So
And
I like Cake.
I'm gonna have to check them
But I'm
out.
a regular at Char. Like that's like a
I am
you
like
know it's consistent when you go there.
I am like the biggest Char fan, right? And I wasn't like that. Like I had Char for the first time in years, right? Like I had been gone for a while and came back into town and I was like, man, I really want to go to a nice place to have a good steak, a good glass of wine.
Yeah.
And I tweeted, I was like, where can I get a good steak in Jackson?
And they said Char.
Somebody said Char. I was like, I heard Char was overrated. I went that night. And ever since that night, I go to Char at least once while I'm in Jackson.
Now, if I'm going for lunch, Manship is my staple. And one of my favorite things about Manship is they are so, it's like a family there. That's like my cheers outside of this cheers. So
Oh,
they
that's
know
dope.
me, they know my daughter, they know my husband. So they give us good quality service with great food as well.
That's cool. That's
yeah.
super cool.
I like Manship.
All right. Well, I am going to wrap us up here, and I do have something for you. It's
This has been so much fun. I really appreciate it.
Do you really feel that way?
Yeah, I do.
Are you just? What did you tell me? What you asked me about
Doing
the
it for
food?
the camera.
Are you just doing this for the camera
No,
right
I really
now?
enjoyed this. This was cool.
All right, cool.
I love getting people who are newbies to see their true reactions to things that I love, to see how they truly like them. You know,
You made a fan out of me with these two items.
good. Well, I'm glad.
Well, these three items, because the drink was good, the dip was good, the shrimp was good. I really don't know which one I like best, to be honest. If you made me choose, I
think you would choose the shrimp.
You got me. I was definitely gonna say the shrimp. You got me. All right, but anyway, something we want to give you a token of our appreciation for you taking the time out of your busy night. You don't even relax, according to what you said. So for you to take an hour out to really just talk with us and let me kind of probe and ask you some questions that you may have not like, I don't really want to talk about this, but I appreciate
I hope I
that.
did good.
No, you did.
I was candid and open and gave you some good content.
You gave me great content. You
Good.
did a really good job. I wouldn't lie to you, by the
Okay,
way.
well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you did a phenomenal job. But from myself and the entire Dirty Napkins team, we just want to say thank you for taking the time out to talk with us. So
Thank
that's
you
for you.
so much. I see all my friends wearing their shirts, and now I got mine, so I'm super excited.
She's super official. Yeah.
So thank you. I won't have to talk too bad about some of y'all.
You be talking bad about us over
Well, they
here.
do me wrong.
Do they? I'm gonna have to holler at them, man. I'm gonna have to holler at them, see why they treating you bad. You cool
I don't,
people.
I don't get to hang out with the cool kids.
Yeah, you cool people. You cool people. I'm gonna come up in here and be like, y'all know I interviewed Ja'Nee, right? Make sure y'all make my shrimp right.
Nah, they do. They treat me bad.
Well, Ja'Nee, I don't have anything else for you, but before I let you go, obviously I want to let you tell the people where they can find you.
Yes, thank you. So 4th Avenue Lounge, we are located in the heart of downtown Jackson, 209 South Lamar Street. So we're on the corner of Pearl and Lamar Street. You can't miss us. We got a big floor on the outside of the building. We're open due to coronavirus. Our hours have changed. We're now open Fridays from 4 to 2 a.m. and Saturdays from 6 to 2 a.m. Come early and get more of a lounge vibe. Come late and get the full turn up. So thank you guys so much. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in 4th soon.
All right, that was a good one right there. Do you want to tell them where they can find you?
You can find me on social media at JJPowell22.
All right, cool. Well, I don't have any more questions for you. I really appreciate the time, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out of your hair.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Same.
All right. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Ja'Nee Powell here at 4th Avenue Lounge, located in downtown Jackson, Mississippi. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Dirty Napkins. Until next time, it's your host, Taylor.